Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. I still get message from people saying about Israel and Palestine, but they can't actually give me a real reason as to why Palestine should not be armed so that they can defend themselves. Said, oh no, oh no, you can't. No, you can't arm the Palestinians. And say, well, why not? Uh, um, uh, um, uh, uh, um, uh, Hamas a terrorist, yeah. Really? It's amazing that the same people are okay with giving Ukraine weapons to defend themselves, right, against people who have invaded their country, right? But the Palestinians can't get weapons to defend themselves, right? I'm not saying, right, that Israel need to get the fuck out of there. No, I'm saying that they need to come up with a two-state solution, right? And the Palestinians need to be given their own, have their own land, right, so that they can build a future for their people. I can't really see what the problem with that is. Right? I can't really understand why people think it's okay, right, to say, oh yeah, Ukraine, we've got to give them weapons to defend themselves, but they can't bring themselves to say, well, Palestine should have that as well. Right? Because you see, I just know what's running through these people's minds. It's just just a normal what's running through their mind. We can't give brown people weapons to defend themselves against white people. That's what's going through their minds. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me, and special thanks to everybody who signed up to the channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. And today, I hope that the volume is better. I did have a listen through, so hopefully it should be better today. Um, Conversion therapy, right? It seems that the government have said, actually, no, we're not going to do. No, in fact, the first thing was, yes, it's something that we're going to do if you put us into government. And then last night they said, no, we're not going to put it into the Queen's speech because it's something that we don't want to do. Sorry. Okay. About an hour later, they U-turned. I just think they're going in a circle, right? Because first of all, they was doing it in the Queen's speech. They was doing it but this is what they must have. This is what how they must have got into power. They said, yeah, we are going to do it, right? And then yesterday they said, no, we're not going to put it in the Queen's speech, so it's not going to come into law. And then, right, there was a backlash. And all of a sudden, oh no, it's something we are going to. An hour later, so it was a U-turn, then a U-turn. These people, seriously, they do not know how to run government, right? Because this is like the gay conversion therapy, right? Which any fool would know it probably doesn't. Well, no, probably any fool would know that it doesn't work. Right, someone sitting you down, right, and then dancing around you with a stick while splashing water on you while making stupid noises, right, is not going to beat the gay out of anybody. It's not going to work, right? You have to, you just have to ask straight people, right? Do you think, right, that therapy can turn you gay? And every straight person's going like, so stupid. What do you think this is? Well, that is exactly how gay people feel, because they was all born gay, right? And there's no amount of therapy that's going to get it out of them. So in the first place, right, this is just quite a stupid debate in the first place, right? Because it's not really, I don't really think it's something that should be in society anyway, because, I can't, it's said, right, you're not going to turn people straight, right? Unless you might be able to get Will Smith up there to box them straight, Now that you've got more chance of that working, right? If we just like just line a load of gay people up along a wall, right, and get Will Smith to just come and box them all straight, right? I think that, right, will probably work more than any gay therapy. Ridiculous, right? And it seems that that ah right. We've had a new protest group just step up, right? Just Stop Oil, and I believe they're blocking up a few refineries today. And you think, really, really, on the first of April, you're going to do that, right? And not for our normal 1st of April, which is normally April Fool's Day, when we're all going around in such a happy mood, playing pranks on our nearest and dearest. Not this one, because this one, right, kicks in the cost of living crisis, right? And of course, from today, that your bill has just gone up 54%. All of us, right? So, but these people, right, have decided, right, at the worst time possible, right, to come up, right, and say, stop oil production. We don't want the use of no more fossil fuels, right? As if things aren't bad enough for us as it is. These people are now blocking up the refineries to make things even more expensive. Right? But let's say today's the 1st of April. Right? So today the cost of living crisis really does kick in, right, for people, and today's the day when things really start to hurt. And got to understand, right, that obviously the government that we've got, right, there's no way, right, there's absolutely no way, because as I've told you before, these guys, they've lost complete control, right? But you're dealing with people, yeah, who haven't got any of your life experiences at all, nothing at all, right? These guys are so far out of touch with us, right, that this is the reason why, right, that they can just say, well, yeah, your bills are going to go up, up by £700, right? As if to say, well, that's what happens in their world, right? In their world, right? Things might happen like that in their world, right? Where 1 year they might pay they might pay £700 more than they paid last year for something, but that's in their world, In our world, right, for people like us, right, you can't impose £700, right, upon working class people, who are living check to check. How are you going to impose £700 upon those people, right? It's going to destroy people, and that's not the only. It's not the only thing as well. There's so much things today from today, right? The price are changing on so much different things, and then you've got the national insurance rising, a couple of weeks time or whatever as well, and the way how these people, I've just seen Ian Dale on the TV, talking about, oh well, the government should have given people back, to give them back that £20. The fuck is the £20 going to do to help? These people, right, are so far out of touch. They're just not in the same reality as us. The reality is just completely different, right, to us. This is the reason why you can have so many food banks in this country, right, and nobody in this country is addressing it. The only person who was addressing it, right, was Jeremy Corbyn was addressing it, right, and look what they done to him. He was the only person, the only politician who was talking about, really doing something about food banks. Right, and this is why, right, the people who really do run this country, right, this is why they just was like, no way can that man ever be in power, because the things that he would do, right, for the working classes, right, the true, right, upper classes, they couldn't deal with that. They can't deal with with spreading the wealth out a bit more. They can't deal with that, right? And they don't want that. They never want that to happen, right? £700, right, on working people, right, is, it's just heartbreaking to think, right, that these people would do this, right? But you see, as I told you, because they've got no control, over any of this, right? They know already, right? Without this £700, people, right, are on their last legs without that. They know this already, right? But they can't or they won't do anything to help. You know, people. This is just unbelievable. The cost of food has gone up, and it's going to go up even higher now because the cost of energy is going up. So could you imagine how much businesses today are just going to collapse literally, right? Because they're not going to be able to pay their energy costs, right, to run their business. Right, you're gonna have, I can guarantee you, yeah, you're gonna be going past shops, yeah, that have got their lights turned off in the daytime, right, because they're not going to be able to afford to put their lights on in shops. I can guarantee you that's what you're going to see, right? This is just horrendous. The way how, right, these people, what these people have done to this country is absolutely horrendous. We're supposed to be in the fifth largest economy in the world. I know, right, that this economic crisis, yeah, is worldwide. Yeah, it is worldwide. But why is it hitting us the hardest? I'll tell you why. Because of the governments that we have put in voted in over for the last 100 years, right? And remember, yeah, I'm sure the Tories have been in, I think it's about 70 or if not more of the last 100 years, right? So all of this, right, has been formed virtually by them, right? And look at what they've done to this country, right? They haven't even got any gas storage, so it's not even like they could say, oh, you know what, we're gonna use our reserves. They've got no reserves, right? Joe Biden is using, he's bringing out his reserves in America. He's bringing them out. Right? Over here, they've got none. There's no reserves. Right? No, so it's just absolutely crushing, right, what these people have done. And look at them the other night in their party, knowing what's coming today. They know what's coming today, and they're still lavish parties because you know what? They just don't care. They're not interested, right? And how you people vote for these goons, right? Well, now you know what you're getting now. I'm going to think of a good word for this. Your comeuppance. That's what you're getting now. You're getting your comeuppance, right? You're getting taught a lesson, right? Because I can guarantee you this, right? You, right, would much prefer to be going through this, right, with Jeremy Corbyn, right, rather than a bunch of callous people, yeah, who don't understand your life at all, right? You think Rishi Sunak can understand your life, right? All Rishi Sunak had to say for himself was, is keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. That's what Rishi Sunak had to say, right? Because people are saying to him, oh, well, your wife has got a hold in a Russian company, well, a company that operates in Russia. It's her dad's company, right? And she owns 0.9%, so less than 1%, and her share is worth £700 million for less than 1%. Right? And people have been mentioning this to Rishi Sunak, and Rishi Sunak is just there like, keep my wife's name out your mouth. Right? Because that is where we are. Right? We've got a chancellor, right, that is so rich, right, that he doesn't understand, right, that £700, right, is so much money to the working classes. He doesn't understand that. Right? I'm telling you, the man is, he is completely in a different dimension to us. He doesn't understand it, right, at all. Right? And Vladimir Putin has threatened to turn the oil off in Europe. You say, well, I turn off oil. If you don't pay me in rubles, I turn off oil. Because you know what, his economy has just been completely trashed, right? And you know he wants like all these European countries now to open up Russian bank accounts, right, and basically put rubles in there, so obviously he can try and bring his currency back up. But you know, I mean, he's playing a really dangerous game here. And you know, before I would have said, well, you know, I mean, he's just bluffing. But after what he's done to the Ukraine, we could never say the man is bluffing, because he's absolutely crazy, right? And you know, if it means like that, he would turn off Russia's $1 trillion industry, right? I think he probably would go there. I think he probably would go there. So we're going to see today, because he said today, he's given them a deadline by today, right? You start paying in rubles, right? Or I shut the oil off. And I think it's about 19 countries, right, in the EU, right, that are, I mean, even us. So it's from like 8%, right through to some countries are 100% reliant on Russian gas. So we're going to see how that situation plays out. But that's what he's threatening to do. He's just threatening to just turn it off for the whole of Europe. And obviously that's going to be completely devastating for the German trade industry and all the other countries as well. But so as I said, some of these countries are 100% reliant on his oil. Some of them 100%. I think like places like Georgia, and so it would be devastating if he does that. But we're already dealing with someone who's prepared to do stuff that's really devastating anyway, right? And the Brexit minister, we're talking about some Brexit. The Brexit minister, right, has asked the government to hold back, right, on the checks in July. Otherwise, right, the trade in this country will completely collapse. And say, well, who the hell knew? Who knew? Who the hell knew that would happen? Right? But that's a true statement, because you see already, right, so much of our business has been smashed to pieces already, right? And that's with the checks. That's with the checks, because obviously the checks on goods leaving this country, right? There's no, we can't mess about with, well, the companies that are sending their goods, they can't mess about with that, because otherwise, right, because the British government has no control over that. They can check the stuff going out, but once the stuff gets into Europe, that's where the control, that's where the checks kick in. And if you can't get past there, right, then your goods, right, will be on their way back or stuck in some warehouse somewhere, right, just running up a lot of money for you, right? So the checks, what they're talking about, right, are the checks that they're supposed to do, right, for probably for the stuff that comes in, right, from the EU, right? Now, if they start imposing those checks, then our because because that was supposed to be a bit of a bargaining chip, right? Where Britain could just say, well, you've imposed checks on us, so we're now imposing checks on goods coming in, right? So if you want to remove your checks, then we'll remove our checks. But because we're run by people who are very stupid, very thick individuals, right? This is why it's stupid, thick people who vote for these people. Stupid, thick, racist idiots who vote for these people. But because we're run by idiots, right, they don't seem to realise, yeah, that was never ever going to work. It was always going to get to the stage, yeah, where our build up, right, of traffic, right, going both ways, right, was always going to be building up much greater and at a quicker pace than theirs, right? And Britain was hoping that that the trade that because we imposed checks on our side, it can start pushing back, right, the queues on the other side, right, for goods coming in. Right? But unfortunately, it hasn't worked out like that for them. how it's worked out now, right, is in July, right, if you bring in the checks that you really wanted to bring in, right, then it's going to collapse the trade in the country. You see? And we call that mismanagement, right? Or being run by a load of stupid fools. That's what we call that, right? And vets have warned that Brexit, that post-Brexit checks, right, will lead to swine flu, right, and other illnesses coming here from Africa. I went all South African then. What's happened there is obviously if the checks, if the checks, right, is, I think is delaying everything, so it's allowing swine, it's not swine flu, it's swine fever. So it will allow swine fever to come over here, obviously with pigs, because of all the new meats that they're importing. So it can allow swine flu to get into swine fever to get into our products, right? And like swine fever, it's like swine fever. It's like Ebola for pigs. This is the African link there, right? That's what. So you see, all these things, was all warned about, right, before Britain left the EU, and while Britain was threatening to leave the EU. All of these things was all warned about, right? And all of this, right? I'm just made a new one up. It's all now Project Now. I'm laughing because someone sent me that one and I thought, oh, I might nick that one. Anyway, guys, look, I've been on well over 7 minutes. I was long as processed again. Anyway, guys, look, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm DMC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.